Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. We've got NFP tomorrow, so that's obviously going to be of note because it's going to be positioning ahead of that data. And what we're seeing on the 24-hour difference, we're seeing the bears capitulate, which is good because they can't be holding, they can't be adding, because they're skewing the market. Basically, we had so many bears, we still got a load of bears left, but we didn't want any more because it was just getting really crazy. Like 27 bears versus the one bull is still ridiculous. Okay, so this number needs to come down towards zero. And if we do cross into zero and we go into positive territory, it then tell us that the herd are net long. And that'd be really unusual. They're normally really bearish. And the reason for them selling it like hot potatoes is the Israel-Hamas risk event. They really just went bearish after that, and they've held since. And it's been ongoing for a while now, and they've been holding and adding over and over and over, and it's skewed the market. So it's worth noting that we're dumping on the technicals, so that's quite interesting. Normally the setup would be that you'd be buying risk if this is green and this is red, because this is telling us, like, it's a buy the dip opportunity because we're risk on at the big picture. But that is a little bit of an omen here. So, you probably want to be careful. I'd be tempted to go long on some of the indices, but I'm just a bit uncertain, and I don't really trade the indices that much, so I've got to be careful. But there was a clear long opportunity on the Dow Jones, which I'll show you. This is the change from last week and Thursday, isn't it? And see, we're seeing quite a difference across pound, France 40 and DAX as well. And we've got to ignore the dollar Swiss because that's really skewed. Let me show you the robot. And what we want to see currently, we want to see dollar CAD fall to TP and to see the SLC. So we don't know what's going to happen at the stop loss cluster. So sometimes this is why the robot hedges, because what could happen, we could hit that and then bounce, which is like a normal scenario, or they might bring their stops lower. If they do, it'd be great in this scenario because we've got a stop loss, we've got a TP below the SLC. So if they move their stops lower, that would be great, and it'll be a profitable day for the robot. Okay, so that's the logic there. And I think we're just coming down to take stops. Now let me show you the bubble. There's the dollar bubble. So what happened over here, that they were short the dollar went on a complete rampage and it chewed them up, and now the herd have reversed, and now they're now buying the dollar, and so they got chewed up here. So I think they're going to get chewed up here, but the bubble's quite large. It should be a little bit smaller. So the fact that it's got larger tells us that it might move. So the fact that they've gone long dollar, we should be seeing price come down to the stop loss cluster. So we should see a weakness of the dollar because they've gone long, right? So hopefully that's clear. Okay, and I'm looking potentially at Kiwi USD setup, pending that this moves that way and then this moves this way, and that's going to be an NU sell. Okay, so that's that. And also we've incremented the TP to 27 pips today, and we'll turn the robot off for tomorrow because we've got an FP. All right, so remember, we're adding increments on the robot every day. We're adding 1 pip every day. So we'll do the indices in gold. And they sold gold. Now I think this double support, this double bottom is going to be tested. I think it might not be today, but do note that the SLC is at 2050, so likely we're going to get that, and we're going to come down to test that, because the herd mentality will be like, wow, this is going to be a good support. You can see, we've reacted quite strongly off it, but I think it's going to be tested. I think. It might not be today, but what I do think we'll see is the 2050 SL. We're going to get that raided, and then we'll come down to the one below. All right, so, and then that will get tested probably by tomorrow's NFP. I'm not sure if I'm going to be trading tomorrow. I'm not sure, because I had a fantastic day on gold yesterday. It was crazy. Oh, and also I was going to go for a long. Now the reason why I bailed was this candle there. So I went long. It went quite nicely, knowing that we're taking out a lot of stops. I did the 50% retracement. We went over the 50%, so it tells us that we were fairly strong. and this candle got me out, and I didn't take any losses. I just got out. I didn't like the look of it, so this looks like a ruse candle, and it got me out. And I'm quite a long-term trader, so that would have probably shaken out a lot of new traders out there. So I would have probably held it had it not been for that particular hour, and it was quite nasty, and it looked like it was going to fall. So I just thought, well, I've had a good day. I had a fantastic day, so I just exited. But really, I could have stuck to my long there. And so that's that. So we'll have to see what happens there. So I think that's going to be tested by tomorrow. I'll show you this in the Dow. And see, there was a bit choppy, but we had the cross under, so they're selling it. So if they sell it, it's normally a buy. So it's a bit choppy here, to be fair, a bit sideways. But if they're going to sell it, then we know you're looking for a stop loss here. So it's quite cheap, 37450. But now it looks like we're wicking. We are wicking a bit, aren't we? I'll be very surprised to see 3 down days in a row, but it can happen. You know, it's the market. It's give and take, isn't it? So. You could theoretically look for a long, but it looks a bit choppy here. But yeah, I think I'll just stick to FX. I think this can be quite destructive to your account if you get it wrong, and it's looking like we're wicking quite strongly. Yeah, I don't like the look of that. Yeah, but yeah, keep an eye. But just be careful. I think S&P. S&P. So you see we are falling quite a bit there, and there's no sign of them selling it. They've gone long here, so this is a resistance. Okay, so it might be the US 30 is not liking what it's seeing with the US 500. So we're falling quite strongly, fairly strongly. And we come back to the US 30. Still working a bit, aren't we? Still, yeah, it's a bit tricky. I'll show you DAX, and then we'll wrap up the video. And then it'll be question whether or not I'm going to be trading tomorrow. Might not do. I've had a great week on that gold trade, and pound USD was good as well. So this is fine, because look what's happening. We're getting a crossover, and we're going to get the alert notification pop up to say they're selling it against the moving average, which is a buy. Be careful. We might have to pump a bit just to shake them out, but we are making a buy. It's not a risky buy because we're definitely below 50%. So be careful there. So I guess that's today's video. Just hopefully I explained the logic there with the bubble. The herd will be looking at the price action of, you know, as is, but not what it's going to do, you know, to be. But with the bubbles, we can anticipate what will happen. They've got a very strong predictive power. And I showed you guys at 11 o'clock last night about the dollar and how it's teetering over here. And I said, well, we could see a continuation of dollar weakness, and we are seeing it currently. Well, we were anyway. So this is going to be impacted with risk appetite. So if we do sour and the S&P falls, this can do okay. So the robot's obviously under the whims. It's underneath the power of the risk appetite, so it's not clever enough to understand to, you know, analyze the S&P or the Dow Jones. It just trades this particular currency pair. So really we kind of need like a fundamental check in there. There we're hedging a bit. Just see that disappeared. So that's quite cool. So there's quite a bit of uncertainty going on. The robot was clever enough to hedge slightly, knowing that you know, perhaps we might not come to get the SLC. It's possible. If we do sour on risk appetite and the S&P falls, then we could even come up to there, which would mean that we get stopped out a bit, but we'll have one take profit, so it will mitigate some damage. So that's how the robot works. It's about risk mitigation, and we've increased the TP greater than the SL. So if we are hedged, we should be making profit. All right, so that's just a quick one there. A little bit of uncertainty with risk appetite as normal. Maybe we're going to have a red day. If we do, then it will be quite unexpected, and we've got to just remember to be careful. So trade safely, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow.